Hey guys, Mike Croft here, Money Coach Mike, and today I'm going to share with you 5 side hustles I would start immediately if I woke up and lost everything. Let's dive in. Here we go. All right, what's going on? Smart Money Community, great to be here today. Great to see you guys. We are live in the group, and hey, just great to be back and great to be here. And so today, what I want to do, guys, is let's dive into if I woke up back in the same shoes I was in about 15 years ago, copious amount of debt, not knowing what to do. What would I do today? Law has changed, even just technology wise, that has allowed us to go from the old school hustle and bustle to a lot of cool and new things here to make money. So if I woke up in my old shoes, $80,000 of debt, and and an okay average income at that time, I think we were like, some weeks I was making nothing, some weeks I was making maybe a couple thousand. So if we were average, $3,000 to $4,000 a month income, which is kind of where I was at back then, what would I do today to raise my income, to get out of debt, possibly even faster? Because there's some cool things we can do today that we didn't have access to back then, um, and to help get me on track. Okay. So if that's where you're at. You're like, hey, Mike, I've been struggling here. I want to get out of debt. I want to save money. I want to go on those kick ass vacations. I want to invest and I want to build wealth. Let me walk you through a bunch of ways that I personally would start to do in order to make money, get myself out of debt, get myself an emergency fund, get myself investing, building wealth, let that compound. And the goal would be to get myself to a millionaire within 10 years or less, starting from zero. Okay. So grab that pen and paper. Let's dive in here. The first thing I'm going to do right away today is I'm going to take a look at my tax returns. Okay. Now, if you're getting a tax return every year, that's the first thing I'm looking at here because that's easy money. That's money in my pocket today. Essentially, what a tax return is, guys, it's the government holding your money in a savings account with zero interest and then once a year giving that to you. It's not a good deal. It absolutely sucks, right? It's a stinky deal where the government makes interest on your money. You make nothing. I hope you like those cards. Actually, I hope you don't like those cards. That just sucks. And so if I'm prone to getting a tax return every year, the first thing I'm going to look into is to see if I can. It's called reducing your income at the source. Essentially saying, hey, government, you take too much money out of my paycheck every month. I want to keep more of that. Okay. And you can do that. Talk to your accountant, talk to your HR at work, and that can be done if you're getting a tax return every year. It just means you're being overtaxed. Essentially, what it is. That's what a tax return is, right? So think about it. If you make $4,000, or if you get $4,000 a year in a tax return, that's an extra $333 more per month you could have. And it's money that you can put to work today versus letting it sit in the Fed's bank account, making you nothing. That would be the first thing I would do right away. I would look into that today and I get that set up today. Okay. Number two, I would renegotiate my credit card interest rates. I wish I knew this back then. I didn't know this back then, so I continued to pay uh, just insane. 20% I think is just insane type of interest rates we pay here. But I didn't know that back then that I could do that. And so I never did. I learned it after I got debt free. But that's the next thing I would do right away is I would renegotiate my credit card rates today, my credit card interest rates today. All right. Think about this. Um, if you can get a 20% credit card down to zero, and let's just say you owe $20,000 of debt on credit cards, you'll save about $333 per month in interest, which you can now use to pay off those credit cards faster, help get that emergency fund, whatever step you're on here is what you can use that for. Okay. Now, maybe you can't get it all the way down to zero. Not everybody can for different reasons, right? We can't all get it down to zero. Excuse me. But what I would do here is I would then see if I can negotiate the points and perks, give up the points and perks, in exchange for a lower interest rate. So let's just say you go down, you go from a 20% to an 11% credit card interest rate. That's saving you $1,800 a year, or roughly $150 more per month. That seems small, but that would have huge impact if you could take that extra $150 more per month and start to use that again. Start to knock off that debt. An extra 150, an extra $1,800 more per year towards that debt will have huge impact over time. So that's the second thing I would do right away. And those first two things I could do today. I could do right now, and I would do that. Next up is, and we talked about this last week, so I'm not going to dive into it, but I would be reshopping all my insurance policies, my life insurance, my car insurance, my home insurance, anything else. If I have disability or anything else, I'd be looking at those premiums to see if I could get a better deal. And if you want to know more about that, hop onto last week's podcast there, and you can take a look at that. Okay, so I'm doing those three things right away. I'm doing those three things like literally within the first hour of waking up. I'm doing those three things. I wish I knew how to do that back in the day. I didn't. I struggled and got out of debt what would call the hard way, you know. But those are the three things that would have greatly helped us in getting to our goals even faster. Okay. Next up, number 4 is I'm now looking for a side hustle. Now, old school conventional side hustles are work overtime. So maybe you've got that available. Sure, you can do that. You make time, time and a half on any overtime you work. That's great. Let's do that. Clean houses. That's another decent one. Especially if you can get reoccurring multiple houses a week. Hey, that's not a bad way to get going. Or clean offices. That's what I did as a teenager into my young adult years. Was I helped clean offices, made money cleaning offices. All right. So maybe you can go find stuff like that, or drive Uber, Uber Eats, all of that stuff. So we're not going to dive into that really. That's pretty basic, pretty easy to understand, pretty easy to go and get. It's just talking to people and calling people and making offers. And that's how you get those contracts. Okay. But if I woke up $80,000 in debt today and I needed to raise my income, here's some things that I would do as well. And by the way, I'd probably do a combination of things, right? And then what I would do is over time, I would see what things are giving me the most amount of return for the least amount of effort. And I would start to shift more towards those if I was able to do that. If those side hustles allowed growth and expansion, I would start to shift into those. But I would probably do a couple of these to get started, and then start to see which ones are actually doing better, and then probably shift over to those. So here's what I would do. First thing, right off the top of my head, is I would contact companies that I see advertising in my area, and I'd make them an offer to advertise. Advertise where? I'd make them an offer to advertise on my car. That's right. So I'm talking realtors, mortgage brokers, maybe tutoring companies, maybe fast food, independent restaurants, mom and pop places that are advertising in your area. Maybe get them on a car wrap, possibly lawyers as well. All right. But just look around and see who's advertising in your area. Those people want to get known, those people want to be seen by other people. And if you'll make them an offer to advertise on your car, that might be a great way for you to make some side hustle money and not having to work super hard to do it. Right. So collect flyers, look at, transportation buses going by, see who's advertising. And that's who I would start sending emails to. I would use or Poe.com is what I use here, but you could use Chat GPT or another AI. Poe seems to have some of the better ones, where I would put together my sales email. Now, I don't want it to be salesy, but I'm going to have an email presentation where I'd be emailing each and every one of these people, and I would be making them an offer to advertise on my car. I'd be telling them the zip codes that I live in, the zip codes that I drive by, the distance that I drive each and every day, as well. And by doing that, that would give them some good information and to decide if they want to put some advertising dollars into your pocket versus someone else. You can probably do it for a lot cheaper, a lot better deal you can get people than if they were to go advertise with the bus or through the mail and all that. Right. So a whole car wrap, maybe that's $500 a month Plus, they pay for the wrapping costs and the design costs. Maybe you do a partial wrap for 300 bucks a month. I mean, you can figure out your prices. It's going to depend on what area you live in. And, are you downtown LA or are you in, suburban Iowa? Prices will probably be a little bit different here, but this is what I would do right away as well. I'd find that list, get my email written up, and I'd start just I'd send out 100 emails that day. I'd expect probably 10% to answer, and probably 1% to buy, right? But you only need one buyer to advertise with you. Then you build a waiting list, and when that person says, I don't want to advertise anymore, you got the next one, right? Or maybe you got two cars you can do this with. Two full wraps, $1,000 a month. Come on, right? So that's the first thing I would, that's one of my first side hustle ideas that I would do here. Next thing I would do is I would start teaching a skill set that I know. So maybe you know gardening really well, or maybe you understand prepping very well, or maybe it's cooking, or maybe it's teaching art, or maybe it's tutoring. Whatever it is that you can teach, maybe it's teaching parents how to help their kids through anxiety or behavioral issues, or maybe it's just fun ideas to do in the summertime when your kids are home. There's so many ideas out there. All right. And what I would do is I would have a private offer if you want to come work with me one on one privately. And then I'd have like a public offer where it's more of like a group kind of session idea. You can buy in for a lot less. Idea. And what I would do is I would use apps like WAP. There's WAP and there's a few other ones out there as well. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but WAP is a free app that you can host your course or community on, and it's free for you. And you can make it free for others, but you can also make it paid for others. And WAP is once you get it all set up, you have all your videos there, you have your community chat in there, you can have your community forum in there, you can have your live teaching in there, and you can set WAP up to collect a monthly reoccurring payment. Also, you can set it up to do one-on-one coaching if you decide that that's what people want, more one-on-one support. You can do that as well. I had a friend who started a art community. Once a month, she would teach how to paint something. And I think it was a $35 a month subscription, maybe a 40. And she had like 100,000 people in her membership. So you do the math. $30, $35 times 100,000. And that's what she was making every month, right? I had another friend that was doing baking, teaching. Every month they would do like a bake. Every month they would have a new bake idea. So they were doing cakes and cupcakes, but they were doing like cool, like style stuff. And every month she would teach a technique on how to get that to be done. So that's, I would teach something. If I have a skill set in an area, I would start to teach that. Maybe I go on YouTube for free and start doing it on YouTube. I'll talk YouTube strategy in just a couple of minutes, but that's the next thing I'd be looking at. Then from there, I call it fill a need. I'd look to find a need and fill it. So the first time I ever figured this out, I was about 11-ish, maybe 12 years old, probably 11. It was probably grade 5. And I'll never forget, it was summertime, and there was this cool arcade at the mall that I like to hang out at. And, I'd ask my parents, mom and dad, hey, can I have $5 to go to the arcade with my friends? And we go to the arcade for hours and just play video games. It was so much fun. And I remember one day going to mom and dad, hey, can I have $5? And mom and dad looked at me and said, son, you don't need $5. You need a job. Go find a job and make some money. And so that summer, I didn't even know it, but Mike Crofts Enterprises started. Okay, I was in business for myself, had no idea that I was in business for myself, but here's what I started doing. We lived in an apartment complex, and the mall was about 5 minutes away. And so a lot of people would walk their shopping carts back to our apartment buildings and never return it. And so what I started doing is I started taking all these carts, running them to the mall, and I'd get my quarter, run back to the apartment, grab another one, run into the mall, get my quarter, run back, and I would do that. I finally got wise and said, hey, why don't I get some friends to get involved with me in this, and we can do so much more. And so we started to put 3 or 4 or 5 of those carts together. And I'll be honest, how we got the carts to the mall wasn't always kosher. Okay. Sometimes I'd throw my friends in one of the carts. I'd push them down a hill. They go flying down a hill. Thank God they never got hit, because I'll be honest, we weren't paying compensation back in those days or insurance. They did get honked at a lot, but never got hit. We got those carts back to the mall. And that summer, we made a good chunk of change collecting orders. My 11-year-old daughter walks dogs, right? You can house sit. Lawn care is a big one. Snow removal is a big one. Gardening is a big one. Just find a need and fill it is another great way to make some money here. Maybe you have a gardening package. I know spring's almost here, where you cut the lawn, you irrigate the lawn, you seed the lawn. Maybe you have some package that separates you from the average lawn care person, that people would be willing to pay you for that service. Okay, so that was the next one. I'd find a need and I'd start to fill it. Write letters. All right, I'll do some letter writing here. Now, my team and I, we tested this out recently here, and it really does work. The only problem that I had was it takes a bit of time for the money to show up. So the way it works is writing letters is you write letters to casinos. I won't go through the whole process today, but you make $5 a letter. Okay, doesn't seem like a lot, but we added up our time and we added up the time it took us to write letters and what we got paid and all that. And it worked out to roughly about $50 an hour when everything was said and done. We made about $50 an hour. So think about that. 10 hours a week, $500 a week. Not bad. Not a bad side hustle, right? And so the only thing we found is it took us an initial 8 weeks to get our first pay. And that was kind of the slow part of this whole process. But after that first 8 weeks, the money kept coming in. And we were making about $50 an hour writing letters. So that'd be I'd be doing that as well right away to make some extra money on the side. Okay, then from there, I'd be taking, if we go back to like teaching something we know or teaching a skill set, I'd be putting that on YouTube. And yeah, you're not going to make a lot of money at first here, but if you can grow your YouTube channel to 1,000 subscribers or more, you can now monetize that YouTube channel, and you can now start to get paid monthly on that YouTube channel. So maybe you're a pastor. Yeah, I'm going to talk to all the pastors out there for a sec. Putting your sermon on YouTube. Come on, baby. You could get that. You could easily get that with your congregation. You could probably get your YouTube subscription up to over 1,000. And then all of a sudden your sermons, or maybe you cut your sermons into 3 or 4 parts, get them on YouTube as people watch them, you can start making money. I've got friends who their kids literally film themselves playing video games. And these kids are making like $4,000 to $5,000 a month on YouTube just playing games. Come on. It's never been easier than ever to make money if you're willing to do a bit of the work there and get that elbow working for yourself. But this is what I would do if I woke up today back in my old situation, $80,000 in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, and not knowing what to do to get out of debt. That's exactly what I would do. I would implement all of that. And then, like I said earlier, what I would do is when I find which ones tend to give me the biggest return for my time, I would start to move and do more of that. Oh, let me give you one more, guys. Tutoring. I've got friends that tutor we've actually got clients that tutor. They make about a couple $100, $300 more per month tutor. They make about $30 an hour is what it comes down to. Tutoring, ESL, and different things like that. I would definitely be doing that as well. All right. So hopefully this inspires you guys. If you're looking to find more money, if you're like, hey, Mike, what do I do next? Right here. Take 1 or 2 things from what we just talked about today and implement. Once you get those dialed in, grab another 1 or 2 things, implement those. But that's exactly what I would do today if I woke up back in my old shoes of living paycheck to paycheck and struggling. All right, guys. Stay blessed by the best. We'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Hey, guys. Hope you enjoyed that presentation here. And one of the coolest things a mentor taught me years ago is it was called the law of diminishing intent. And he basically said this. He said, Mike, the longer it takes you to act on a new idea, the less likely you're going to act on it and get results. I was like, whoa, mind blowing at the time. Okay. And so I want to encourage you guys, if you're looking to raise that income, if you're looking to bring in some extra bucks, take 1 or two of those things and act on them right away. Or otherwise, the likelihood of you actually taking this information and getting that transformation will become less and less the longer you wait. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed that, guys. Hey, listen, if you're looking to get out of debt, or maybe you're debt-free here and you're looking to start build some serious wealth, I've got 2 trainings for you guys below. My Get Out of Debt training that's going to walk you through how to get debt-free without remortgages, bankruptcies, or consumer proposals. And I've got my Wealth Builders training here that's going to walk you through how to build your investment account better than 99% of financial planners out there. Even if you're a complete newbie, we walk you through how to do this here. So go grab those in the description below, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.